These are the people who serve you, and we encourage you to get to know your district representative and also the at-large members. And we hope to see these board members at our state, around the state at field days, socials, and other events. So thank you very much, board members. And then this is really kind of a special evening for me because this culminates and probably went, and I know for Wendy too, because this culminates our 9 years, so collectively 18 years of serving on the board. It's been a highlight of one of my professional things that I've done as a farmer. And I know that when the staff prepped this slide, they meant to convey thanks to Wendy and me for our combined 18 years of service on the board. But the beauty of this slide is that it can be interpreted the other way. So to me, and I'm sure Wendy would agree with this, it conveys our thanks to all of you for allowing us to serve this amazing, curious, welcoming, hardworking, and humble organization. So Wendy and I have both been fortunate to be part of extraordinary growth of PFI during our time on the board. And when we started in 2014, the PFI offices were in this tiny little, I don't even know, like a combined rooms in a building that was downtown Ames. And we had a handful of staff members, and the goal or the dream of having 1,000 members was just somewhere in the horizon. And now 9 years later, PFI has a staff of 30 plus people. And earlier today, I wanted to confirm with Sally, I was thinking we had at least 4,000 members, and Sally said, no, we have 6,000 members. And I will say that that could not have happened without you as the members. You are asking the questions that become our on-farm research. You are talking to your neighbors about what PFI does and sparking their interest and enthusiasm to join this organization. And you're also identifying the common ground, the values that we all share as members of PFI that inform our strategic plan. And sure, Wendy and we both at one point got to drive the tractor of PFI during our 9 years on the board. But you sitting out there in the audience and listening tonight are the ones that were instrumental in fertilizing, planting, and bringing in this PFI harvest tonight and for many years to come. So I thank you. All right, so now we get to choose new members to be on the board. I'm going to turn this over to Sally. No, I keep getting to go. Okay, cool. All right. Okay. So the membership vote for this year's board candidates will take place online. You will have one vote per membership, and we need to meet the vote quorum, so please vote. You should have earlier today received an email. If you did not, contact Sally and she'll make sure that we use the right email to send you your ballot. So those of you who have your email on your phone, you can vote right now instantly. And those of you who haven't had a chance to check your email, next time you do, be sure to vote. We have 3 board members up for re-election and 2 new board members on the ballot. Okay, so you'll get to meet them. So first up, we have Carmen Black. Carmen is running for her 2nd term as a Farmer at Large director. And Carmen, will you please briefly introduce yourself?
Hello. Sorry. Hi, I'm Carmen. I farm collaboratively with a large farm team near Solon, Iowa. And we have market vegetables through community-supported agriculture, and also have a lot of livestock, including lambs, goats, and chickens. Yeah, and it was great to serve on the board for a first term. And yeah, is that enough? That's wonderful. Okay, thank you.
right, thank you, Carmen. Our next board candidate is Christine Lang, and she is running for her second term as non-farmer at large director. And Christine, will you briefly introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. I'm really proud to be one of your out-of-state board members. So I currently reside in Brookings, South Dakota, where I'm an assistant professor and extension specialist in horticulture. And my research interests are integrating cover crops, reducing tillage, and starting a kind of a cut flower farmer network. And I've really loved the chance to bring the ethic of PFI to South Dakota. And everything I learned from PFI and visiting with all of our farmer members has made me, hopefully, a better extension agent. So it's truly an honor to serve you. And I try to name drop PFI in all of my extension programming. So I think people have put together that I'm on the board by now.
Thanks, Christine. And I will say that there aren't many benefits of the pandemic, but one of them was that we learned how to do things virtually. So Christine gets to continue to serve on the board, even though she lives in South Dakota. Okay, next up we have Gail Olson, and Gail is running for her third term as District 5 Director. Gail, will you briefly introduce yourself, please?
Hello, everyone. My name is Gail. My husband and son and I farm down in southeast Iowa near Winfield, primarily row crops, about 10% or so organic. My off-farm job is I work at the University of Iowa in their ag program. Yes, indeed. The Hawkeyes have agriculture. The Iowa Center for Agricultural Safety and Health. We're just a very small unit, but we work well together. And I think the regenerative and sustainable ag and the values of PFI work together very well with trying to help keep farmers healthy and safe on the farm as well. So I am very much looking forward to seeing what PFI brings next. The growth in the last 6 years, which have just flown by, have been amazing. And thank you all for the curiosity and the energy and the new ideas that you bring to agriculture in Iowa. We need you.
Thank you, Gail. Schaefer Ridgway is running for his first term as District 3 Director. And Schaefer, will you please introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Schaefer Ridgway from Waterloo, Iowa. In my day job, I work for NRCS. I've been with NRCS for about 24 years. I've been a district conservationist in Waterloo for the last 18 years. My wife, Madeline, and I started Southern Goods Produce Farm, or Southern Goods LLC, in 2019, where we focus on bringing Southern produce to the Midwest. We focus on things like purple hull peas, collard greens, sweet potatoes, things of that nature, okra. And so, we got 3 boys that sometimes work on the farm, most of the time not. But hopefully it's going to get better. And so I have a passion for soil health, regenerative agriculture. That is where my real passion is. I really feel like that regenerative agriculture is what will really change and help rural agriculture. But I'm not saying if you're conventional that you're a bad person. I don't believe that at all. I just believe that we may look at it a little different. So thanks.
Beautiful, thank you, Schaefer. And then our final board candidate is Anna Hankins, and she is running for her first term as Farmer at Large Director. And so Anna, please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm Anna Hankins, and I co-run Over the Moon Farm and Flowers alongside my wife, Shay Peshek. We're a diversified farm located in Delaware County. We produce seasonal cut flowers from May through September that we market primarily through the community-supported agriculture model. And then we also produce direct-to-consumer chicken, turkey, duck, pork, and beef that we also market through a year-round meat CSA as well as wholesale to restaurants. And I am a former participant in PFI's Savings Incentives Program, and a current participant in the Advanced Business Coaching Program, as well as a member of the Livestock Steering Committee and an active member of the Cooperators Program. So PFI has been such an important part of my growth as a young farmer, and I'm really excited to continue to grow in that role with the board.
Thank you, Anna. And I will just put in a little plug for everybody who's sitting out there in the audience or listening this evening. PFI is an amazing organization for developing leadership. And so as you heard Anna talk about all the ways that she's involved, all you have to do is raise your hand, or you may have a staff person really twist your arm to get involved. And it's really a wonderful, wonderful thing. So thank you to everybody for your willingness to serve. And now I'm going to turn it over to Sally Worley, our fearless executive director, who will provide the PFI annual update.
Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me okay? It's really great to see you all here. It's really great to have been able to work with Ann and Wendy for 9 years. If you don't know them, they're just absolutely amazing people. And before I give my update, I do want to take just 1 minute. Need my notes that I don't have. So I want to take 1 minute to celebrate somebody pretty important. One of our co-founders, Sharon Thompson, died this past Wednesday. She was smart, she was hardworking, and she was genuinely kind in a non-judgmental way. And after her husband Dick passed away, she was less present in person at events. It was hard for her to get around, especially in the later years. But we still sent her board packets, and she read every single one of them from front to back. And she shared with me that she loved to witness PFI expanding and thriving. And if you knew Sharon, she said in her own humble way, "Who ever thought this would become a PFI?" And though she was one of the most humble people, or maybe because she was one of the most humble people I've ever met, she influenced many of us so immensely. When I think of somebody I aspire to be like, her humility and grace really stand out. And as you see in most of these photos, she's with her husband, Dick. I think they might have been soulmates, and they spent a lot of time together. Her son, Roger, said that she was ready to go home and be reunited with Dick, and he is taking solace that she finally has. And Jan Libby, if she's here, said something really smart, I think, on her discussion list. She said, "I was reflecting on the timing. On the one hand, it could be heavy this weekend, but second thought, what a blowout celebration and testimony to what she and Dick started. Let the party begin, and 3 cheers to Sharon's strong role." So if you all would give 3 cheers to Sharon, I would really appreciate it. Okay, now I'm going to totally change the subject. And I'm going to start my update talking about our discussion lists. Many of you are on them. If you aren't, they're pretty self-explanatory. It's where our members have discussions. And I quite enjoy reading these discussions, especially when you all talk about the future of ag. And Patty Naylor started one such discussion last fall when the USDA Climate Smart Commodity Grants came out, because a lot of these went to very large agribusinesses. And the conversation turned to change ag for the good, do we make incremental changes to our dominant agriculture system that's rooted in industry, or do we start a new system from scratch? And this discussion talked about the current trends of ag, which are pretty much going in the opposite direction of PFI's vision. But with the leadership of all of you, we take a yes and approach. Complicated issues are not solved by one solution. Rather, by working together with multiple strategies, we can reach common ground that allows us to reach our vision. And at this conference, you will meet, or you've already met, farmers with a wide range of production practices, farm scales, and enterprises. But you all have so much in common. You want to raise crops, you want to protect your soil, and you want to provide for your greater community. So let's continue to work together to find ways for you all to have pathways to do this in your own unique way. So in my few minutes, I'm going to give a crash course, just really quick, of ag trends we've seen in Iowa. And then I'm going to provide an update of what we've all done together to change the course of these trends with multiple approaches. So our current food system rose from the need to raise enough calories to feed everyone, and it has been focused on technology and efficiency since just after the Great Depression. But we've really gone too far down this path. We used to have a calorie deficit, and now we have a nutrition deficit. We have food that is cheap and high in calories, but it's low in nutrition. And even though we raise enough calories, 1 in 5 adults in Iowa are food insecure. And even though 72% of our land is farmland, we import 90% of our food, and that's just insane. We also, over the last 60 years, have gone from 205,000 farms in Iowa to 85,000. As productivity has been the leading focus of our food system, farmers had decreasing margins. They literally had to get big or get out, as they were told by the ag secretary in the 70s. We've seen a decrease in the variety of crops we harvested. The small grains that used to be such part of our landscape provided us both economic benefits and environmental benefits. And you probably can't read this, and that's okay, but this is a list of commodities that we've raised over time, and it just keeps getting smaller and smaller. We used to be number 5 in the nation in apple production and number 6 in grape production. And the middle-sized farms that have been so important to the backbone of our economy, when they've declined, so have our rural communities. So this is what this is trending toward. Again, pretty much the opposite of our vision. So what do? Well, together, we are equipping farmers to build resilient farms and communities. At PFI, we want to turn these trends around, and we're doing this together. And I'm proud to say that as Jim Mosley, a PFI supporter, who's also the former Deputy Secretary of the USDA, told me, PFI is the leading organization putting regenerative ag on the ground in the United States. And our values are really important. I heard Anne say already, and Gail already said curiosity. That's really important to us, curiosity, creativity, and collaboration, as is welcoming everybody. These are really important to our identity and our success. So I'm going to introduce you to all of the staff and some of the members of the hundreds of members who worked together to change the trends of ag last year. I'm going to start with our operations department. If you will stand, if you're here. These are the people that help us get money, the people, and the tools to do our work. And as you may have noticed, we just keep on growing. Last year, we hired 13 new people. And one of these hires, Miranda Johnson, will help us hire more people. And we are hiring more people. As you can see, we already hired Brad Woodson. If you see him, say hi to him and be really nice to him. It's his first week at PFI. We've hired 2 more people, and we have more positions open. So please talk to me, Alicia, Miranda, visit our website to find out more about our hires. And I really ask you to consider joining us as staff or spread the word, because we really need to continue to recruit high-quality staff, because it really is an awesome place to work. And last year, we broke ground on 3 major information technology projects. And these are really a big deal for us. There is a big team involved, but Alicia Bauer, our Senior Operations Director, really has shepherded these from start and soon to finish. These investments will upgrade the ease of our daily work. They'll right-size our tools so we can continue to grow, and they'll allow us to spend more time on our mission, which is what we want to do. And look at that membership graph. Isn't that impressive? We're at a record high membership of 6,300 and counting. And last year we had a record high of lifetime members in 1 year. 30 people signed up as lifetime members, which is just really impressive, and we're really thankful for that. And we're thankful for all of you for supporting us with your dollars and your time. And now it's time for my public service announcement. We have sent you a member survey. Please fill this out. We really use this to set our priorities. If you feel like you should have gotten it and you didn't, just ask Steve Carlson and he will definitely hook you up with one. Okay, and our finance team. Stand, please. This group makes sure that the money we receive to fulfill our mission is accounted for properly, a very important task. And there's a lot of good things to report out about our budget. Do you see that curve? Isn't that amazing? Our fiscal year 22 budget, which ended 9/30, was up about $700,000 from the previous year. But this year's budget is up about $3.3 million from last year, which is quite a jump. And I'm really excited to say that that growth is in nearly all facets of our work. And I do want to put a shout out to all of the grant writers on staff. If you've ever written a grant, you can appreciate the amount of wrangling it takes to get that much money in grants. And we are extremely grateful to you all for your donations and your membership income, because that money is really important for us to be nimble and directly serve your needs. We are currently in a fundraiser to raise $55,000. We're getting really close. We have about $11,000 left to raise to do all the work we want to do this year. So if you're curious about donating or interested, please talk with me. I'd love to talk to you more about it. And last year we paid $650,000 out to members for participating in leading Practical Farmers of Iowa. This is for mentoring, hosting, being featured in the media, and for cost share programs. And in addition to this, another $1.2 million was paid to farmers for cost share that we facilitated. One lone person on this slide, Sarah Carlson, will you stand up, please? I'm going to provide an update on our programs and member engagement, which Sarah is in charge of the vision and execution for. And first, I'll start with our farmer-led education team. If you will please stand up. So if you like the sessions you went to, thank them. If you didn't like them, give them constructive feedback for next year. This group stewards you, our network, and creates platforms for you to share your knowledge and experience. And last year, we held 258 events. That's a whole lot of activity. In addition to this, our staff and members presented or tabled at least 113 events, although we know there were more. Here are some snapshots from our 44 field days. At the bottom left, I'm giving Chris Henning an award at her field day for the Farmland Owner Award, and it was really apparent to all of us why she received that. The bottom middle is a bus group. It kind of looks like Amos is driving, but he was not. They're going out to Minnesota, and Will Crombie and Wilbur De La Rosa hosted them on their Tree Range farm. This event was presented in Spanish and translated to English, and we had quite a few other events last year that were translated, and we also translated some of our materials and added translation to our website, because we really are trying to be genuine about welcoming everyone. At the bottom right, you can see Meredith Nunikoven pictured with Anne. And Flowers were a really hot topic last year, and for a really good reason. I mean, they're beautiful, they fill your soul, and they have good income potential. So Meredith hosted a field day on flowers, and Sarah Busher attended. And the really great thing about field days is people talk about what works and what doesn't. And Sarah really appreciated that Meredith talked about some of the problems she was having because it made her feel not alone. We held a dozen farminars last year. Our farminars this year are going on now. They're on Tuesdays at a new time. The information is in your programs. Here's a picture from one with Paul Muggy of Sutherland and Tim Youngquist of Iowa State. They presented on prairie strips. And Tim Welsh from Dorchester attended, and he appreciated hearing the farmer perspective paired with the university researcher. We also had meetups last year. We held 22 of these, and these provide people the opportunity to strengthen networks around shared interests or identities. So for example, we had some online farmer of color meetups. Wade Dooley held a cover crop meetup near his farm in Marshalltown, and Laura Krause and Donna Warhofer hosted a horticulture meetup in Mount Vernon. And the events just continue. Here's a picture of Andy Larson, who was here or was. He was speaking on enterprise budgets at our beginning farmer retreat. And Emma Barber appreciated hearing about finances so she can go get loans. We also had a small grains conference, a flower workshop, a farm business coaching workshop, a series of egg in the no calls, an in-person egg conference, an apple growers workshop, and more events. And demand for apple growing has remained high, so we have a workshop coming up next month. We also have a beginning farmer summit coming up next month, and a Midwest Covers and Grains conference coming up soon. And all of these events are a lot of fun, but they also help people learn and meet new people. And they lead to change. For example, at our field days, 72% of attendees plan to make changes as a result. And will our farm viability team please stand up? So we broke new ground on this department last year, and some of the programs you'll see are recognizable. They were put in this, and then you'll see some new programs out of this. And this department provides personalized support to help farmers achieve their goals. And I'm sure you've all heard about our cost share. It grew quite a bit last year. We had 1,121 farmers plant 360 acres of cover crops. We also had 214 farmers plant 22,000 acres of crops as part of our extended rotations cost share. This is a lot of acres that we impacted in the Midwest. And Jason Opheim from Postville participated, and he told Lydia, who oversees all of these programs, thank you for helping me on this journey. I truly want to change ag in my area. I want to feel proud when I respond to people asking what I do, and I greatly appreciate organizations like yours that allow me to do so. And we are really uniquely positioned to do this work. We have the trusting relationships with all of you, and we have the ear and relationships with companies. And like PFI staff like Sarah Carlson are making sure that they're not just learning about sustainability, but they're acting on it. You may have seen the Des Moines Register article of People to Watch in 2023. Sarah was one of them, and she was dubbed the Johnny Appleseed of cover crops. And Stephanie, who works with Sarah on one of our projects, said she's been absolutely instrumental. And she also said, we wish we had a Sarah and Practical Farmers of Iowa in every state we are working in. And we know cover crops are not the end goal, but we also know investments in cover crops reduce greenhouse gas emissions, they build our soil, they help clean our water, they create habitat, and they diversify the ag landscape. And even more importantly, our program introduces farmers to this network where farmers learn that they can be intentional about instigating positive change on their farms. We started a lot of new cost share programs last year too. One of those we started was a grazing infrastructure program. And here, Erlene Fotma's on the right with her sister. She's at J.R. Jenkins Field Day. Erlene was part of this cost share. And as a result of the infrastructure she put in, she was able to reduce her feed costs as well as maintain good weight on her sheep and goats. And she said, I learned so much about rotationally grazing. My kids learned, my animals were happy, and I met new people. This experience was priceless. What a great response to the program. We also rolled out produce safety cost share last year, and we just opened a second round for that. We partnered with Xerces for a habitat cost share, and we're going to have a new habitat cost share out really soon. We also did a lot of business development and coaching last year. 16 farmers participated in our third round of Cover Crop Business Accelerator. And last year was the first year for our new farm business coaching program. And Mark Westbrook, who farms near Waverly, was one of the participants. They're trying to add a cidery to their existing mushroom and poultry operations. So he said this came at a perfect time for them as they finished their season and looking to take the business to the next level. So we're glad that this new program seems to be relevant. And we also started a landowner coaching program. We're looking for more landowners to participate in this program. If you're interested in learning more, please contact Martha McFarland. Jane Shea participated. She co-owns farmland near Algona with her mom, who she's pictured with here, and some siblings. And she said she learned several best practices to use with her tenants, especially record keeping, that will be beneficial as we transition all our land to cover crops and extended rotations. And if you can believe it, it's kind of hard to believe, but last year was our 12th year for our savings incentive program. It's a long time. This program helps beginning farmers access the network, the knowledge, and the capital to help their businesses succeed. And Natasha Wilson, who's pictured here with an extremely cute baby, I'm imagining is hers, reported that the business plan helped her focus. She said, it's easy to feel like you're failing or just treading water sometimes. But with SIP, we had a plan and goals. These set us up so we could keep grinding when things got busy and gave us something good to look back on when we got to the end of the year and wondered, what just happened? I'm guessing all of you can probably relate to that, but I'm really glad that a business plan helped her to have some kind of tether. And our research program, Stefan, will you please stand? As you can see, we are currently hiring for this program, and it's literally one of the coolest programs I've ever seen. So please consider being Stefan's coworker. Our research program empowers farmers to generate and share knowledge on timely and relevant on-farm research. And it's timely and relevant because you all pick the priorities for us. Last year, we had 45 farmers participate in 75 trials on quite a wide range of topics. And Anna and Shay, you just met Anna, participated in 2 livestock feeding trials. I'm curious how long it took you to, or how long that chicken stayed on there, but we can talk about that later. But Anna said of the experience, I can't express how much more of spreadsheet farmers we've become this year by doing these trials. It makes us feel much braver about scaling with clear insight about production, which is fabulous. And for you that have been around a while, you'll remember that at the beginning of PFI, we started with nitrogen reduction trials. And cooperators did nitrogen trials again last year. 19 farmers participated in a trial titled, Can We Reduce Nitrogen Rates and Improve Return on Investment? Sam Bennett, who farms near Galva, was one of them. And he said this trial will put together a good set of farm scale data to give farmers the confidence to dial in their N rate to improve profitability and water quality. And our marketing communications group, will you please stand up? They're a little scattered. Nick is somewhere in a dark room streaming this, and there's some back there. So this department brings the stories of PFI members to life and shares them with a wide audience. They're really working hard to drive the food and farming narrative and to drive home the message about the importance of farmers working together to build resilient farms and communities. And last year, they worked to get our members, you, featured in a wide variety of news outlets. We had good coverage stateside, and we also had good coverage nationally because people recognize the importance that Iowa has in our food system. For example, Nathan Anderson, who's pictured top right, was featured in the New York Times talking about how cover crops and diversified rotations have helped him build resilience and cut inputs, which is especially important as we face unstable supply chains in an unstable climate. And I mean, I think you've all watched, has anybody not watched Livestock on the Land? If you haven't, you're not brave enough to raise your hand, but if you haven't, you should do that right away. It's a really great movie. And the importance of this movie is being recognized across the nation. This movie is more important now than ever as we debate solutions to climate change, to advance the message that we should not be debating whether or not to have livestock. We should be talking about how they are integrated into the farms. It's not the cow, it's the how. This documentary was selected at film festivals in Iowa and beyond, and it won numerous awards, including the Iowa Motion Picture Association and the Iowa Independent Film Festival. In the center there is my colleague Sarah Crum accepting an award, and at the bottom right is Nick Odie accepting an award for the movie. So it's really great getting that coverage for it. This movie has also played a big role in us gaining online recognition. We have more than 8,000 YouTube subscribers now, which is awesome as we continue to gain online presence. This team had also last year recorded Practical Cover Croppers, which you haven't seen yet because it's coming out this year. So that's something for you all to look forward to. So that was a really broad snapshot of an awful lot of activity, and there is so much more detail that we can all share with you, especially at the potluck tonight. But with the diversity of the programs we have, hopefully you saw how we are using multiple approaches to reach our vision, and hopefully there was something of interest to you, whether you're working to make incremental changes to your farm, starting an endeavor from scratch, or doing some of both. I thank you all for being part of our growing community, and I hope you see your place at the table and then continue to bring new people to our growing table so that we can work together, building new and improved systems to create in Iowa's agriculture that serves us all for the long term. Now I'm very happy to pass the microphone over to Jill Bebout, who is going to introduce this evening's Sustainable Ag Achievement Award recipients. You're on.
Sorry about the zipper. Okay, how's this? PFI's Sustainable Agriculture Achievement Award is given each year to an individual or couple who has shown exemplary commitment to sustainable agriculture, generously shared their knowledge with others, and been influential in efforts to foster vibrant communities, diverse farms, and healthy food. There are few people I know who embody this description more than Dean and Judy Henry. If you aren't familiar with the Henrys, Tamsin wrote a thoughtful biographical sketch on the Henrys and their son Mike for the press release that was published in newspapers and on the PFI blog. If you haven't read it, check it out. We first met Dean and Judy and their son Mike about 18 years ago when we were brand new vendors at the downtown Des Moines Farmers Market. We were lucky enough to have them just a few booths down from us. And on the inevitable mid-morning lull at market, I like to go down and visit the Henrys and learn. The first thing you noticed when you approached their booth was the incredible quality of their product. And then you were witness to the kindness and generosity with which they handled the public and their customers and people who just came up to see what they had going on. I learned a lot of things standing at their booth. First of all, what blueberries are supposed to taste like. I'd never had a locally grown blueberry. It was revolutionary. One of the great things about Dean and Judy is that they are innovators to the core. I learned that you can grow blueberries in Iowa. And to date, I believe Dean and Judy have the largest blueberry patch in the state of Iowa. That's impressive. They continued to experiment with new crops. When I walked up to the booth, one of the first things that Dean would say to me after he had finished with his long line of customers was, "Hey, what do you think about," and then I would hear about bush cherries, and I would hear about honeyberries. I would hear about aronias. You can't win them all. But one morning, just as we were setting up, Judy came up to my booth and she had her hand closed and she opened it. And she said, "I want you to try something." And in her hand was the largest blueberry I had ever seen in my entire life. It was the size of a plum. It was huge. She said, "You have to taste this." And I did. And she said, "I hope you enjoy it because it only produced about 12 and we're pulling them all out." You can't win them all. But on that innovation front, Dean Henry owned a smartphone at least 2 years before I did. And nearly every time I saw him, he said, "Have you gotten a smartphone yet? You have to make this technology work for you. You can't believe how much you can do with technology." I learned I have a smartphone. So that level of innovation that they have been actively going after has been a lifelong thing for them, and it's something that I've been inspired by. As soon as I have a question about fruit production, I go to Dean Henry. Dean's my fruit Google, hands down. We've shared a number of meals between our household. I've learned at those meals how to prune gooseberries. I've learned the best way to expand a rhubarb patch. And are bush cherries really worth it if the deer eat them all the way down to the ground? If you've not been to the Henry's location and seen their U-Pick operation in full function, it's something you need to do. That is a well-oiled machine. Their crew, their customers, their volunteers are multi-generational, multicultural, and everyone out there seems to be having a good time. We packed our entire farm crew up and took them up to their farm for a day to help out a little bit, to pick blueberries, but I wanted my crew to see what's possible. And their farm is a perfect example of it. The Henrys are lifelong stewards and adventurers in growing food, improving soil, and nurturing community. For decades, they've kept their fingers on the pulse of the produce industry, trialing interesting new crops and trends, and always generously sharing the information they glean with other growers and the public. They are stewards, teachers, mentors, influencers, producers, and in my mind, sustainable agriculture superheroes. And luckily for me, I also get to call them friends. Let's show our appreciation to Dean and Judy Henry. That is for you from PFI. Oop, and I looked to my